Sup everybody, it's your boy Corey, KGQ Saint, back from the reaction video. No, I haven't posted all last week. Let you know what had been changing, especially spring palm time. Fortunately, I got hit with a sinus infection that took me out for a minute. Mostly had to work from home and everything. Glad that's what my job let me do this week, but feeling definitely a lot better compared to how I was, I'm gonna say, Tuesday. I just wasn't feeling it at all. So I had to take my break, prior towards my health, get better, which I am still. Got a little bit, but anyway, I'm doing a lot better now. Anyway, back to reacting to the video. Finally, Death Battle. Shigaraki versus Mahito. My Hero Academia versus Jujutsu Kaisen. Has picked who I'm going for. So, I don't want boy else to get into it. So, I might make a decision. I could do watching, preliminaries and then get to the fight. Think of who I'm going to win. But anyway, might be neutral. Who knows? Anyway, you already know special question. Have a comment below. Let me know what you want to react to. Let me get this pulled up. Already checked everything. Everything's good. Let's get it.
Shigaraki versus Mahito.
Now we'll be doing parts like I did last time. Well, you might see some cuts, that is.
Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. Tenko Shimura was just a sweet, shy boy who loved superheroes.
But sometimes the hand of fate can't abide sweet shy boys.
Ruthlessly beaten and abused by his hero-hating father, Tenko pushed beyond his emotional limits until he activated his inherent superpower, or quirk.
It wasn't something cool like flight or super strength. In his terror, he accidentally killed his whole family. Well, except for dear old dad. That one was intentional.
Tenko wandered the streets alone, silently begging for someone, anyone, to help him. If only a hero was there to save him. But instead, the only open hand he found belonged to the devil.
All for one. The greatest super villain in history.
He took Tenko under his wing, feeding a hatred of everyone and everything, and grooming him to one day lead his league of villains in destroying hero society.
With that came a new name, Tomura Shigaraki, and an absolutely nightmarish quirk, Decay. It does what it says on the tin. Anything Shiggy touches with all 5 fingers turns to dust. The perfect power for someone who just wants to destroy. Pretty menacing, if not for that dorky-ass costume. I get it, hands are his thing, but come on, they just look so dumb and fake.
Oh, those aren't prosthetics. Those are real hands from his family that he killed, attached to his face, and explicitly commanded to be left there by his mentor so that he would never forget his rage.
Okay.
While his use of Decay started off relatively weak, it rapidly increased in power and range as Shigaraki came into his own.
Decay isn't even limited to whatever he's touching. Anything that touches something he's decaying also decays.
Spreading like an all-consuming miasma that can wipe out anything from an enormous tower to an entire city.
If Decay reaches you, your only hope is to isolate the body part that is disintegrating before it gets to something vital.
After years of training with the greatest supervillain of all time, Shigaraki was finally put in charge of his own team with one mission. He must kill his master's rival, the #1 hero, All Might.
Only to fall flat on his face.
Shigaraki was a terrible leader, quick-tempered, short-sighted, and, well...
Cringe! Oh, he's just so cringe. He uses gamer lingo unironically. He whines like a baby when things don't go his way. He's the kind of guy who would say normie in real life, in front of normies.
But they say defeat
I also know something about him that they might go over, but don't say never watch My Hero. I won't spoil it just yet.
All Might's new protege, Izuku Midoriya, was coming into his own as well.
These two rivals, the inheritors of their master's blood feud, would push themselves past their own limitations.
Especially when All Might and All For One double KO'd each other, leaving Shigaraki to lead the League of Villains all by himself.
And with the stakes higher than ever before, Shigaraki stepped up. He
sticking
chest, feet, and even down there. That's care everywhere, everywhere.
Oh, dude, that was a cool kill.
Middle of the fight.
I hit his
Don't want to see no ass right now.
Battled the monstrous Gigantomachia for a month and a half straight and conquered other villain organizations to create the Paranormal Liberation Front. Thousands of new soldiers for his personal army.
All to impress All for One's personal quack, Dr. Ujiko, who spent months upgrading Shigaraki's body to make it more like his sensei's. It might have been constant agony, but Shiggy went from Chud to Chad.
Ujiko's experimentation vastly increased Shigaraki's strength, speed, and durability, enough to match and surpass even All Might's absurd power.
Sharing All Might's power between them, Deku and Bakugo were able to punch an island-sized hole in a cloud that reached 24 miles into the sky. We've calculated that before to be nearly 80 million megatons of TNT, almost as much as the meteor that wiped out tons of TNT, almost as much as the meteor that wiped out the dinosaurs.
And Shigaraki can now move fast enough that his body produces hypersonic shockwaves and can even catch laser beams.
And he's tough enough to survive Star and Stripes' Intercontinental Ballistic Cruise Punch. Now the new name for my penis. Move over, gigantic Omega Storm. Anyway, it also made a blast so big it showed up against the curvature of the Earth.
When they did
Though he
Hulk
might
versus
seem
Broly.
invincible, when Shigaraki's body is pushed hard enough, he will evolve into a state of uncontrollable power.
So Decay became, oh shit, more hands.
Shigaraki can spontaneously generate flesh into existence, seemingly oceans of it in an instant, whenever he wants. He can even use it as a type of armor to defend himself in close combat.
But that's nothing compared to Ujiko's greatest gift. Shigaraki wanted to be the new All for One, so what better way than the old man's quirk?
All for One's quirk, All for One, allows its user to steal and store quirks with just a touch.
And All for One has hundreds of them stored up, collected over the years.
Each quirk is connected to a memory of
What's
its user's
name?
essence in the form
All
of a
for
spirit,
One.
a vestige.
Kinda like a piece of their soul. They exist in this kinda psychic world in Shigaraki's body, and can even act as a spiritual defense should it be invaded.
And with those vestiges came quirks like super fast healing, air blasts, radio waves, flight, telekinesis, teleportation of others, and the ability to track foes.
He can even combine multiple quirks together, like in this big-ass electric Kamehameha.
However, any vestige stolen or destroyed will also remove that quirk from Shigaraki's repertoire. They're also sentient, and some can even fight for control.
Which is when the second shoe finally dropped. Because Shigaraki also got All for One's vestige, that means All for One was now in possession of a shiny new body that he'd spent the last 15 years molding for him to take over.
Shigaraki's entire
Yeah.
existence was planned from the beginning. Why? Because All Might's previous mentor was Nana Shimura, Tanko's
His grandmother.
Oh, that to mess with All
Yup.
Might. That is some next level hating right there.
He manipulated
That's what I was talking about,
Shigaraki's
saying,
entire
man.
life, all for one purpose: to create a soul so corrupted it would grind away at All Might's perfect world, allowing All for One to take full control.
But All for One's possession wasn't complete, and Shiggy managed to fight his way back to the top, literally decaying his way through vestiges in the
That's
process.
crazy. All Might's
all to fight his
mentor was
rival
actually
Deku
his
one
grandmother,
last
so
time.
Despite Izuku's best efforts to save him, Shigaraki was too far gone. His spirit decayed by years of venomous hatred.
And the new symbol of hope defeated the new symbol of fear, burying All for One's grudge for good.
All that Shigaraki asked was to be remembered as the heartless destroyer he was raised to be, and not the broken, angry, crying little boy he really was deep inside.
For just that one moment, though, Shiggy got in Deku the only thing he'd been denied his whole life, the one thing his lifelong nihilistic tantrum was really all about. He got a hero who tried to save him.
yeah, that's why I can say he's definitely a true tragic character. So get ready to do the next one now. Okay, so that was Shigaraki. Once again, you see his cut, so yeah, I just had to render stuff out. But anyway, that's why I say he was a truly, truly tragic character. So now it's time to Mahito to see how he stats up again. So anyway, get this pulled up. Let's get this right now.
This battle is sponsored by Robin Hood Gold.
With Robin Hood Gold, you can now enjoy the V.
Missions? Sign up.
Let's get
But
to
Robin
it.
Hood membership is offered by Robin Hood Gold LLC.
Oh, they gotta do these sponsors.
Join
and
Planet
got
Fitness and save
stinking
$28 or more.
ass.
Just $1 down,
Ain't that
$15 a
something?
month. Deal ends January 31st. Wix. One platform, any website. Unlimited creation.
There we go.
Ever since Cain slew his brother Abel and wetted his fields with his blood, man's greatest fear has been his fellow man.
But what if this fear took on a life of its own?
What if all that negative emotion humans felt for one another spilled from their bodies and congealed, forming, over time, a living being fueled by malice, which believes in nothing but the law of the jungle?
Well, then you'd have the special grade curse with the patch face, Mahito. Oh, I've had people tell me I've become a human disaster curse when I've had too many mojitos.
Mahito is one of the deadliest beings to ever afflict mankind. He's no mere mortal, though, but a cursed spirit. Innumerable spirits exist, weaker or stronger depending on the amount of anxieties, jealousies, hatreds, and fears humans feel about them.
Like the fear of locusts, kinda weak, or the fear of smallpox, getting stronger, or the fear of fire.
I would say locusts. Well, I'm getting ready to do something in my backyard. I'm
mankind's
trying to
fear of
start my own
itself
garden.
would be
Yeah.
extremely powerful. Those negative
I'm trying
emotions
to plant some
manifest
stuff.
as
Trying to plant stuff in my
Mahito, a
garden.
being
That's one thing I do
composed
not
of
want.
cursed energy.
Locusts.
It's basically like evil ki. Cursed energy can be used to make spirits way stronger, faster, and tougher than any normal human. And it's invisible, making curses like Mahito impossible for the untrained eye to see. Only a life or death situation can galvanize a normal person to see a cursed spirit.
That also makes cursed spirits virtually immune to physical damage. They may be physically present in space, but can only be harmed by attacks that embody spirit matter like cursed energy.
Which makes curses insanely hard to get rid of, like ghosts, cockroaches, or my ex. That's why you need a Jujutsu sorcerer to come in and Kaizen the shit out of them. They call it exorcism, but I like the way I said it better.
Curses and sorcerers have battled each other for millennia, waging an endless war over the fate of humanity. Almost exclusively in Japan, though, for some reason.
But Mahito is special. You see, most curses are basically dumb animals. But Mahito has so much cursed energy that it gave him sentience.
So he was recruited by Kenjaku alongside other special grade disaster curses to wreak havoc upon the world. In fact, they made Mahito their leader.
And even more frightening than intelligence and bloodlust, Mahito possessed philosophy.
Perhaps informed by the tragic meaninglessness of interhuman conflict, Mahito is an existential nihilist, believing in nothing but his own will to power. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and Mahito is the wolf.
Which also makes him kind of a goofball. If nothing matters, why not have fun with the slaughter? Really get your steps in. He loves to dig around and toy with your emotions like a cartoon character before slitting your throat.
An appropriate analogy considering his curse technique, idol transfiguration.
Using his cursed energy, Mahito can control anyone's soul with just a touch, including his own. In fact, he's so good at manipulating his own soul that you can't even kill the bastard without directly targeting it.
In Jujutsu Kaisen, the soul and the body share an immutable connection. Whatever happens to the former affects the latter.
This lets Mahito squash, stretch, and shape-shift his body into literally anything he wants, like Play-Doh. He can turn his limbs into blades or clubs, grow wings like a bird or fins like a fish, reform his body around injuries, or even create clones.
Curse users are naturally unharmed by their own ability. Should he touch a human, though, his alterations to their body are instantly fatal.
And since he's attacking your soul, those physical wounds are gonna be impossible to heal.
Even if his alteration isn't directly fatal, the human body won't last more than a few moments in a transfigured state.
All that with one touch! God, I thought herpes was bad.
His powers mean Mahito treats humans as effectively disposable dolls that he can gleefully experiment on. The more casualties, the better, especially if he gets to break your spirit first and watch you suffer.
Even more twisted is when he combines two transfigured humans together for soul multiplicity, essentially a giant torrent of body horror flesh that he repels at an opponent. Ugh.
Mahito is unbelievably creative with his application of idol transfiguration, and despite being a newborn curse, consistently keeps experienced sorcerers on the back foot.
It helps that he's a quick study who's picked up a number of different curse techniques, like the Black Flash.
By applying cursed energy within 1 microsecond of an impact with an enemy, space itself will distort, exponentially amplifying its force by a factor of 2.5.
Not only does this hurt like a mother, it restores triggers your curse technique and gets you fully in the zone.
And would require reflexes moving nearly 1,000 times the speed of sound. It's no surprise then that Mahito also unlocked the pinnacle of sorcerer techniques, the Domain Expansion.
Oh shit! More hands! A domain is like a barrier of cursed energy, but if you're caught inside, Mahito can use idle transfiguration instantly without even needing to touch you.
It's called the self-embodiment of perfection, the ultimate expression of Mahito's absolute control over his victim's body and soul. The only time it ever failed was against the student sorcerer and Mahito's archenemy, Yuji Itadori.
Because not only was Yuji a barf-inducing goody little two-shoes who believed in the inalienable rights of all living things, blah, 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 he also had a curse inside of him.
The king of curses, Sukuna.
Which meant Mahito's ability affected both souls in Yuji's body. Sukuna didn't like that. No surprise, and kicked Mahito's ass, forcing Patchface to fight with a handicap whenever facing his pink-haired menace.
Yuji's belief in the value of human life flew directly in the face of the world that Mahito knew to be cruel and meaningless. So he made it his mission to crush Yuji's spirit before killing him, murdering his friends, defiling their corpses, and brutally battering him before going in for the kill.
And he's got the strength to do it. Mahito's one of the most powerful curses in the world, and his growth is exponential.
Fellow disaster curse Jogo was able to summon a massive meteor capable of reducing the city of Shibuya to ash.
That'd take an energy of over 800 kilotons of TNT.
And Mahito can take as good as he can give, especially when, in the throes of struggle against Yuji, he evolved, unlocking a vastly more powerful form, the instant body of distorted killing.
Complete with armored exoskeleton and arm blades, this was a taste of the almighty curse Mahito was growing into, a true blight on all mankind.
It wouldn't last. In a bitter battle of resolve, Yuji won out. In a dog-eat-dog world, there was now a bigger wolf.
So he tucked tail and ran away like a bitch. What do you know? Life suddenly became a whole lot more meaningful the second it looked like it was about to end.
All that gleeful nihilism, just a bitter hypocrisy in the end.
For him, maybe, but Mahito found a convert in his archenemy. After a battle that wiped out thousands of innocent people, Yuji's youthful spirit was gone. The only thing left that mattered was exorcising this curse.
In a way, that was Mahito's final victory, the destruction of another human being's soul. He may not have been around to see it, but the curse Mahito inflicted on the world would bring it to its knees.
Man, plus care, whole body DO protects you everywhere.
I seen his ad. Come on. Anyway, he's still slightly worn. So yeah, I'm gonna be neutral in this fight. So it's too much to think about. Okay, so the preliminary is over. So like I said, right now I'm being neutral in this fight. Looking for a good fight. I don't care who wins. I was leaning towards most because of Shigaraki, because I know him a lot longer than Mahito, but it can go either way. So I just want to see a good fight. But anyway, let me get this pulled up again. It's time. Let's get ready to go. Let's get ready to fight, but let's get it, y'all.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle!
Animation looks good. Ooh.
I'd heard of a powerful villain stalking these parts. My organization is going to tear this putrid world down around us. We could use a freak of your talents.
Little old me. Do I want to be king of the social rejects? How about I bring them your head instead?
Fine by me. Let's call this your audition. Sickum.
Yeah, this music fits it. Ooh. Not that easy.
Did you actually just see that? God, how lame!
Oh no.
Audition over. Did I get the part? Decay!
Not looking good for you, Shigaraki. Oh, he's going to his final form.
That all you got? Domain expansion.
Ooh, the way he executed that.
I can read your soul. You're just a scared little boy whose daddy was mean and wants to make it everyone else's problem. Grow up.
Oh, I was wondering if he was going to show up.
My masterpiece. I felt your soul too. You only hate humanity because you were born that way. Totally random. I hate them for a reason. You grow up.
Oh, guess I'll. Oh man, Edward,
Those with
shoot.
Robinhood Gold can enjoy a 3% IRA match. Tremendous.
Captain, there are still 9 orders that need your approval.
I guess I'm right, man. I guess I'm
What
right.
did I say, Wiz?
Shigaraki.
With their complex power
Yeah, this was-
this match was a puzzle to figure
Yeah,
out.
this was.
which
That's
is
why I
we're
was
breaking it down into
confused.
3 categories: physical stats, survivability.
Yeah, please
and
go
their
over.
powers.
But first, let's address one thing. Could Shigaraki even see Mahito? He's an invisible curse after all.
Cursed energy and quirks are notably different, and Shigaraki wouldn't be able to see curses normally. However, even regular humans can spontaneously develop the ability to see curses in life and death scenarios. And with the Search quirk, Shigaraki would have had no problem tracking it.
So
I was
seeing
wondering if you
Mahito
wanna show
wouldn't
all
have been
for
an
one
issue.
this.
With that out of the way, we can jump into their stats.
This was no contest. Despite the disaster curses being able to destroy entire cities with their cursed energy, Shigaraki's scaling to Deku and Bakugo meant he was calculably millions of times stronger.
He was faster too, considering he could react to light beams, while Mahito's Black Flash capped out at nearly 1,000 times the speed of sound. Nothing to scoff at, but Shiggy was thousands of times faster. Shigaraki takes stats.
Yeah,
But survivability was a little trickier to figure out.
that
Yep,
was.
in
That's
terms
why I
of
was
raw
confused. Was I don't know
durability,
who was going to
Shigaraki
win.
was a lot tougher,
Survivability.
and his ability to generate new flesh meant that he could heal any wounds he might receive super easy.
However, Mahito is a curse and is immune to the kind of overwhelming physical damage Shigaraki could dish out. Not only that, Mahito's regenerative ability via idle transfiguration meant that he'd come back from anything short of spiritual damage.
Considering Mahito's unique curse body, he should actually get the edge in survivability.
Which presents a crucial question. Could Shigaraki even kill a curse like Mahito in the first place?
Or would Mahito's unkillability give him the time he needed to eventually put Shiggy down with idle transfiguration?
It all comes down to their powers.
Yeah.
Shigaraki had a lot more variety with all of the crazy quirks All For One had collected over all the years. But
Yeah.
none that we know of could properly kill a curse. That didn't mean
That's
idle
what I was wondering.
transfiguration
That's
was
another.
a
That's the
surefire
one
bet
main
either,
thing
though.
I was
Of all
wondering
things,
about.
Shigaraki's vestiges served as a spiritual shield from from the effects of idol transfiguration. The fact that Mahito could not avoid targeting Sukuna while attacking Yuji meant that he couldn't target specific souls inside a person.
And Shiggy has hundreds of soul-like entities inside of him. Sure, each one down means he loses a quirk, but that's more than enough time to land a single hit with Decay, especially considering how much faster Shiggy is.
And Mahito has no way to defend against Shigaraki's primary quirk. Decay has affected spiritual beings in the past. Again, vestiges.
Yeah, yes, I just now remember that.
Vestige and have that damage transferred to the Deku in the real world.
Mahito may be made of spirit energy, but he still has a physical form. In fact, sorcerers that couldn't naturally target the soul were able to fight him on even footing. No reason to think Shiggy wouldn't decay him like everyone else.
Giving Shigaraki the third and final edge. It was a unique duel to the death,
Far
but
stronger,
Shigaraki's
less
overwhelming might,
arsenal.
unstoppable powers, and deadly decay spelled the end for the disaster curse.
Nothing else to say. You
So
really
Mahito
got a hand
had
into
a
Shigaraki.
main advantage was the
Tomura Shigaraki.
generation. It was a good
Next
fight.
time on Death
Alright, who's
Battle.
next? What the? Are you serious?
Subscribe and join.
Okay, Master Chief versus Doomslayer, so I'm all for it.
As a member to see more Death Battle. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, this was a good fight, so yeah, I enjoyed it. So once again, my first thought was correct. So main reason I'm going with Shigaraki because I know him a lot longer than Mahito, so I want to pick him, but I don't know if he's gonna pull it off. Especially, like I said, could he actually put him down for good? Would know the curse regeneration. So to answer my question, so glad I was actually sort of right with this. Sort of right. I ain't going fully since I was going in neutral, but yeah, this was a good fight. Definitely enjoyed. Definitely look at this next fight for Master Chief versus Doomslayer. So anyway, I know it dropped yesterday, Saturday, Sunday morning for me. I was busy all day with some stuff, so once again, back try to do more videos I can this week. Might do some couple of days, some more good stuff pop up. So going to be busy with some stuff today as well too. But this once again is a good fight. How you feel about the outcome? Make sure you give a like, comment, and subscribe. And fantastic day. Peace.